As Hurricane Katrina bore down on the Gulf Coast, a Category 5 storm, Governor Kathleen Blanco sent a letter to President Bush asking him to declare a state of emergency in Louisiana. That was Saturday, August 27th. Her letter did not include a request for military assistance. Governor Blanco's communications director, Bob Mann, said later, "We always assumed that the troops were pre-positioned and ready to roll, but they were not." The governor's office says that hours after the hurricane made landfall on Monday, August 29th, Blanco spoke with President Bush and assumed her request would get the state federal troops.
And she said, "We need your help. We need everything you've got." The governor genuinely felt at that time she had asked for help.
But she did not appeal for federal troops specifically, and her press secretary says she didn't feel she needed to.
You don't tell a dying man you're not going to give him CPR unless he asks.
On the evening of Tuesday, August 30th, the governor's office says Blanco ordered the commander of the Louisiana National Guard to request additional military assistance from General Russell Honore. By Wednesday morning, the situation at the Superdome and Convention Center was rapidly deteriorating. Governor Blanco was in Baton Rouge in between network TV interviews. In a conversation transmitted over the satellite, the governor and her press secretary discussed what she said in a prior interview about the looting.
I said, we're not tolerating it. We're asking for more military presence. But I mean, you know, and I'm saying we're putting good people in jeopardy, potentially. I really need to call for the military, and I should have started that in the first call.
Sunday, we asked for an interview with the governor to find out why she expressed that regret, if she felt she had already asked for troops. CNN's Gary Tuckman was provided an interview with her press aide, who said the governor realized she should have been more precise in her call to the president.
Okay. Now, on Wednesday, in that TV interview, between the interviews, I guess she was talking to you, right?
She was talking to me.
Okay. She said, "I really need to call for the military. I should have." What was your remembrance of that quote?
Well, I need to call for the military. I should have made that clear in my first call to the president.
The governor's office says that right after the interview Wednesday, Blanco called the White House to appeal for federal troops. President Bush was not available. Instead, she spoke to Homeland Security Advisor Frances Townsend. A senior administration official says that's when troops started moving. 2 days later, as arguments swirled about who was responsible for the breakdown of law and order in New Orleans, Miles O'Brien spoke to the governor on CNN's American Morning.
Let's talk about that request for federal troops, 40,000 federal troops. When did you make that request? Was it on your first phone call to President Bush?
Okay, my first phone call, or my first conversation with President Bush was asking for all federal firepower. I mean, I meant everything. Just send it. Give me planes.
But did you specifically ask, Governor, did you specifically ask for troops? Did you ask that the Pentagon deploy troops? Because that is a very specific request that a governor needs to make of the federal government.
We had troops being deployed. We had the first wave of troops being deployed at the level of 12,000. But before we even got to 12,000, I asked for 40,000. So, you know, I saw that we needed a greater capacity. Miles, I'm lost in the days.
When did you make that request? Okay.
I don't even know it today.
On Wednesday morning.
I made that request
when you
perhaps
spoke,
Wednesday.
The White House confirms that it was only on Wednesday that the governor made a specific request for federal troops. And a senior administration official tells CNN National Guard troops were the best option anyway, because they had law enforcement powers to deal with looting. Looking back Saturday night, Governor Blanco admitted there were missteps. She insisted on all sides.
Did I ask the president early on for help? Yes, I did. I asked him before the storm came because I know what a storm can do to my state, and I know that we need help. He wanted to help. We both got caught in trying to make a bureaucracy work on something bigger than it ever had imagined it would have to work on.
What's becoming clear is that the misunderstandings and assumptions were also very large, slowing the response to Hurricane Katrina and her victims. Carol Lynn, CNN, Atlanta.